There's a lot we don't know about the Aftons from Five Nights at Freddy's, but the few facts we do know are horrifying. Welcome back, my fellow gamers. This is Top 10 Gaming and I'm your host, Amanda McKnight. Today we'll be reliving some of the Afton family horrors as we count down the top 10 scary truths about the Afton family. Alright, let's get into it. Number 10. Crying Child's Fate. Possibly Evan's fate would be an appropriate title of this as well, assuming that Evan is actually the true name for CC. Crying Child meets a terrifying end. This poor victim, and likely also offspring of William Afton's, ends up having his birthday at Fredbear's and is seemingly tormented by his older brother during it. Though really, why Crying Child is such a fan of Fredbear's when the animatronics terrify him, I don't really get that. But I guess that's also a lot of the FNAF fanbase, who like to be scared, so maybe CC is scared too but is also a fan? I don't know. Either way, Crying Child's brother decides the best way to tease him is to take him up to the stage and lift him up to give Fredbear a big kiss. His brother and his friends stick CC's head in the animatronic, but something goes awfully wrong, and the animatronic bear chomps down on CC's head, crushing it. While CC does survive the accident, he never fully recovers and shortly after dies as a result of his injuries. Number 9. Elizabeth's Fate. Elizabeth probably is one of the saddest stories of all of the Afton family members. When she was young, all she wanted to do was play with Circus Baby, the animatronic that her father had supposedly made for her. Unfortunately, this didn't end up working out. Well, it kinda did work out, but not in a good way. William told her both that he'd made the animatronic for her, but also that she should be cautious around it and that she would need to keep her distance. Kinda some contradicting stuff there, Mr. Afton. In the end, Elizabeth snuck off to play with Circus Baby, being lured away from the group by ice cream. She then ended up being devoured by the animatronic. And friends, before we move on to this next spot, if you are loving this list and you want more lists on the Afton family and all of the mysteries within the Afton family, because there are many, please be sure to let us know by giving this video a thumbs up. I love diving into all the mysteries and all the horrors. Number 8. Circus Baby. After her death at the hands of Circus Baby, Elizabeth would actually become one with the animatronic, with her soul possessing it and going on to live within that animatronic. Elizabeth's soul would then become trapped within Circus Baby. In Sister Location, it seemed as though the knowledge of his sister's fate was what inspired Michael Afton to get a job at the underground facility, in hopes of freeing her. It's unclear whether Michael was doing this of his own volition, or whether he was compelled to do so by his father William. Number 7. Michael Failed. In the end, Michael failed his mission though to free his sister's spirit. There is an ending where he escapes the facility and his true fate, but we'd also learn that the real ending involved him being harmed simply because he came to try and free his sister. Oh no, just I guess kind of like a wrong place, wrong time scenario. In the ending where you as Michael do survive and get away, it's implied that Circus Baby knows the reason why Michael has come, and actually attempts to bait him from leaving his safe room in order to confront her and attempt to fulfill his mission to save his sister. Either way that you finish the game though, the fact remains that Michael failed to save Elizabeth, who still is trapped within Baby, or I guess what's left of her, by the end of the game. Number 6. Michael's Fate. Michael doesn't just fail at being unable to save his sister, but he also potentially loses his own life in the process. Unless of course he was an animatronic the whole time, which could be very well possible at this point. The true ending of Sister Location finished with Michael getting scooped by Ennard and having his insides replaced by the amalgamation of Sister Location animatronics, who now occupy that endoskeleton, Ennard. This is how they are able to escape the facility, through Michael. Although Michael seemingly still somehow survives this, not really dying on the inside despite being without presumably most, if not all, of his internal organs. He continues walking around as normal until his flesh has rotted, and then he vomits up the parts of the endoskeleton within him, collapsing to the ground, as we can assume there would be really nothing left inside of him to hold him up. Probably didn't even have bones left after that big scoop after all. However, he is somehow revived by Circus Baby's voice, reassuring him that he won't die. You won't die, you won't die. Now, presumably undead, Michael continues on in his life forever changed. Number 5. William's Profession. One of the creepiest things about William Afton, just to begin with, is his involvement in these family restaurants featuring live bands made up of animatronics. Live bands. The fact that he even made animatronics, never mind all the weird mad science that goes with that, is disturbing on its own. I mean, these animatronics all look pretty creepy, and I know all the Freddy chains are meant to be like a place of joy and happiness, at least on paper. But these animatronics do not scream joy and happiness to me. They scream terror, they scream at me to like run for the exit. Everything except joy and happiness really is what they're screaming at me. Also, just sometimes they're just screaming at me because they're jump scaring me. Number 4, William's hobby. One of the scariest truths involving the Afton family is William's role as a killer. I PG-13'd it up and referred to it as his hobby in the title of this point because, well, censorship and such, but it seems as though this hobby is quickly becoming more like his true profession. William has killed multiple people at this point for a reason we don't really quite fully understand yet. Though I'm sure he has his reasons, right? I mean, he's gotta have reasons, right? Included in the deaths he's had a hand in, albeit likely not directly, are the deaths of his own offspring. All 3 of his kids, if there are 3, I'm pretty sure there's still 3 either way you slice it. Even if Michael is Evan, there's still gotta be an older sibling, and then there's still Elizabeth, so all 3 of his kids seem to have been taken out by animatronics. Although Michael was also weirdly still alive even after his death following sister location, making us wonder just how human he and perhaps his siblings may really be. Maybe they were never human children. Maybe they were all robots. Number 3, Springtrap. Another very dark truth is that William Afton went on to become the monster known as Springtrap. Springtrap is the main antagonist of FNAF 3, where you are a security guard at a sort of haunted house / museum, created to profit off of the terrible and tragic events that seem to destroy Freddy Fazbear's Pizza and seemingly the reputation of Fazbear Entertainment's reputation besides. William Afton was chased by the spirits of his victims who had come to possess the animatronic suits. He chose to hide in a Springlock Bonnie suit, but water coming into contact with it caused the spring locks to loosen, malfunction, and they tore through William's organs and body, presumably, trapping him within the suit and in theory killing him. Though of course he seems pretty lively in FNAF 3 as the only true and physical antagonist. And I believe that's after 30 years of him being like sort of locked away, so I guess he's like a spirit possessing the animatronic, or he's still alive. I have a lot of questions. Number 2, Stitch Wraith. When you really think about it, William was even involved in the creation of Stitch Wraith, which is pretty astounding and also horrifying. According to the Fazbear Frights book, William was the one responsible for Andrew's death, and Andrew is one of the souls who would go on to possess or become the Stitch Wraith. Initially, Andrew tied himself to William, preventing him from dying in an attempt to torment him. You'd think making your killer immortal would kinda be a bad idea, but I guess Andrew's whole thing was more selfish, not really caring about preventing any further killings or deaths, more wanting to make sure that William lived on so that William could suffer ever more. We learn of Andrew's story in The Man in the Room 1280 from the 5th Fazbear Frights book, Bunny Call. Number 1, Immortal William. Despite the fact that William has seemingly died multiple times, it appears that he must somehow be immortal. Whether that's thanks to Andrew, even after Andrew left him, or is something that William did to himself, or is perhaps just a coincidence. Every time William seemingly dies in the FNAF series, he comes back. He's as resilient as Michael Myers at this point. He just dies and he keeps coming back no matter what. He's been spring-locked, burned alive in a building twice, the second time around seemingly locked up and unable to escape, and yet now he is back as Glitchtrap. This time he has returned through someone scanning a barcode from a Spring Bonnie suit that I suppose he still somehow possessed in some capacity, as it downloaded his spirit, his soul, or his essence into the game, allowing William to live once more. I'm telling you, if you ever think William has finally died, do not believe it, because he hasn't. What do you think are some of the scariest Afton truths that we know of thus far? What secrets are you still eager to learn about? Which Afton family member do you want to know more about? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And speaking of comments, it is time to turn to some comments from one of our latest videos, Top 10 Scary FNAF Foxy Theories. Top Pocket Facts comments, Foxy could just end up being its own SCP, clearly sapient and understands what he's doing. Very interesting concept. I do like the theory that he's just a smart fox doing what he needs to control the environment. Yeah, I could definitely see Foxy being that type of character. I just think he's a fox, he's wily, he's definitely smart. I definitely think Foxy is one of the smarter animatronics out there. Kristen Rastatter shares, I would love to be friends with Foxy if he wasn't a murderer. Yeah, that's fair. I feel like I feel the same way about that. I feel like he's kind of one of those animatronics though that you feel like maybe he wouldn't like hurt you, like maybe you could get through to him. I don't know. That's how I feel about Foxy, but I just want to get through to all the animatronics and befriend them. Z10 Fury responds, Foxy is my favorite because he looks like he can do the most damage. P.S. What FNAF robot would you fight if you had to? Ooh, I feel like if I had to fight like any of them, I feel like I'm gonna take on like Balloon Boy or something like that, because I feel like Balloon Boy is just mischievous, so it would be kind of a fun fight, and in the end, like, he's just Balloon Boy, so I think I could take him. However, if it was a version of Foxy, I feel like I'd want to fight like a Phantom Foxy, because then it couldn't actually do physical damage to me, just, I guess, mental damage. Also, Foxy is dangerous, got those pointy teeth. And that's all the time we have for comments today. Be sure to comment below for a chance to have your thoughts and your questions responded to in a future video. This has been Top 10 Gaming, and I am your host Amanda McKnight, reminding you to keep on gaming on. Pew pew!